So, MiHoYo decided to drop Ayato with their drip marketing, but there was a little bit of backlash about his design. So we're going to be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly of events that have happened since that. Now, as you guys might see, this is the Twitter post where they originally posted it, and supposedly they released this Twitter post earlier than usually what they do, according to the pattern. And the thought is because somebody had leaked, I believe 2 hours before the actual release, they shared his actual design. So Ayato is a highly anticipated character. In fact, he was a character that was heavily simped for when we didn't even know what he looked like. In fact, people had only heard his voice. First and foremost, you can kind of see in the comment section below, there's a lot of people with disputes about his design. A lot of people putting a lot of familiarities between him and Baiju, who is a character that we've seen up to this point, and their uncanny similarity and resemblance, which is kind of funny. I also made kind of a meme with this as well, because they just kind of give off that same vibe with their faces. It's crazy. It's definitely split. There's a lot of memes. If you like memes, go ahead and check it out, but do be careful because there are some very toxic people, and then there's some people that are understanding, so just keep that in mind. It's Twitter, so just be careful. So the good thing is he's coming out, and I do want to point out that his sword is of the same appearance as Child's bow. So if you look at Child's character, you can actually see that his bow has this same hydro infusion element that you can clearly see here, which makes me come to believe that he will have hydro infusion for either his sword, or we don't necessarily know if he's a sword exactly yet. The one thing that's kind of tricky is that, if you guys remember, Raiden did come out with a sword on her banner, which if you notice here, Raiden Shogun actually has a sword in her banner art. So just because they have a weapon doesn't mean that's going to be their solidified weapon. It could be that he wields another weapon and he has a stance where he uses a sword. So it really depends. What we can really say though is I'm pretty sure, about 90% sure, that he will have hydro infusion. As for whether he'll be a sword wielder or not, I'm not completely sure. But given that, you know, we've had characters in the past that did have this hydro infusion element kind of shown in their art, we can keep that in mind, which is going to be super good. In fact, he might be able to, he'll probably power creep Child to some extent. We'll have to see how strong he is, but assuming he's going to try to live up to his sister's power level, he should be pretty good. Now let's talk about the bad stuff. Now, when it comes to some things, I think most of the fan base and most people can agree they're not a particular fan of his pants. Now, to me, it's not really a big deal because we must have seen this coming. It shouldn't come as a surprise because not too long ago we got revealed a little snippet of what Ayato's appearance is. And this is really what throws me off and why people are really upset with his design, because given that he looked like this, there was a high chance that he wasn't going to change that much. And looking at this, he has these pants. So I don't understand why people are getting upset now when in reality, we kind of foresaw that this was probably going to happen. And in fact, you can kind of tell that this was pretty much going to be the idea. Now, there was some idea that maybe his design could change, and I was also on that boat. I was on some major hopium that he might change a little bit. Another reason I want to point out that I was kind of believing that he might have this chance where they change his design in the future was the fact that when Raiden and Kugisara were originally shown to us, their designs were quite a bit different. Kugisara's is still kind of similar, but I really prefer this design actually more than the current one. And she's wielding a sword, which is totally different than what she currently is in game. And Raiden as well looks significantly different in this image. So given that, we were majorly hoping that his design within this image would change maybe somewhat to the extent that those other designs were changed as well. At least I'm not sure if that's what people were hoping, but in my mind, that's what I was thinking, where they might be able to change it, and that we shouldn't fully rely on this image to guarantee us what his future design will. But as we've been able to see, I was wrong. In fact, this was the design that they ended up going with, which is actually pretty interesting. And keep in mind, I'd never seen any of the fan art for this character at all up to this point, okay? I literally just looked up the fan art today because I'd never seen it. So when I'm gonna explain my viewpoint on the matter, just keep in mind, I had no expectations for fan art. I'd never seen any of his fan art. Even though it looks amazing, I'd never seen it. And now that I'm looking at it now, I do understand why some people are upset, because it does look a lot more Inazuma vibes as far as design. I will say that this design right here does look like it's very westernized, especially the pants, which is why I think a lot of people are kind of upset about those. And then there are people that are upset about his hairstyle and just ripped it off of Baiju a little bit. You can kind of see why people might be upset with that. I mean, some people just like it because they think he's a hottie. So, I mean, it's whatever floats your boat, right? Now, I had no major expectations for a long time about Ayato. In fact, I had kind of set him on the back burner. I didn't expect him to get released for a very long time. And then my chat when I streamed told me about Ayato and reminded me that he could come out soon. So I got a little excited, thinking, okay, he's Ayaka's sister, so maybe he'll be somewhat like her. And Ayaka's a great character. She's super fun. And if you haven't noticed, I'm a huge fan of samurai characters. Inazuma characters are some of my favorites, especially the ones that have like a kind of samurai vibe to them. So I was kind of hoping that he would be like one of my favorite characters, which is a character that we can't even play as. Now, I was hoping that he would have similar vibes to Kazuha's friend, Kazuha's friend actually has my favorite character design in the whole game. Unfortunately, he's dead, so I'll never get him. But I was hoping Ayato would be somewhere close to being like him, but more elegant and of higher class. So I was hoping he would be kind of similar, but maybe armor and less rogue-like. And that's basically what I was hoping. That's the only thing I had envisioned. And it would have been cool if he had some kind of fancy hair or something to distinguish him from other characters and give him that kind of different vibe. That's kind of like what I was hoping. Now, I know that's a major hopium, but Ayato was kind of, as I view it, one of the last characters where I was going to get a character like Tomo here. He was the last chance, because really I don't know how many more Inazuma characters we'll get where they can actually be like this. And so that's where I was really bummed. So to be honest, I'd never seen any of the fan art or anything, but I must say, like, now that I'm seeing art that people are making of his current design, as you can see, like right here, this art is great. Like, he looks amazing here. And nothing against like his current design. His hairstyle will have to grow on me, and I think a lot of people will start to get a realization of their old fantasy character is not a real thing and that this is the actual character. And he'll grow on them, okay? People will get over it naturally. I think people should be very judgmental, because, like, honestly, most of the backlash has been not very toxic and just people genuinely just disappointed or sad, which is nothing wrong. I don't think people should judge people like, oh, I can't believe you don't like his design. Like, chill. Like, literally, if you don't like his design, it is what it is. Most of the characters to this point, I've honestly really loved their designs. I think this was the only one where I really wanted him to be a specific way, because he was kind of my last hope of being a really cool Inazuma, like, samurai type. And they kind of went with a different vibe. Now, that's just on me because, you know, I had my expectations, and I admit that. With that being said, we don't know what his gameplay's like. So, I know some people are a little worried about what's going on here with the sleeves on his arms and those like long hanging like capes looking things. We'll have to see what that's like in gameplay. I know Raiden kind of has one on her sleeve, and it's not as big of a deal, really. In fact, it looks kind of cool. So if they do implement in like during his auto animations, he looks super sick. It could be very fun nonetheless. For me, what's really going to be the game changer is his gameplay style and his animations. Like, if it's really slick and it looks cool, like up to like Ayaka or Raiden Shogun levels, I'm definitely going to pull for him. Easy. It's no hesitation. But based off of just this banner art, I think it's a little rough to decide. And I do think this art piece right here doesn't really do him justice, because if you kind of like look at some of the art pieces that people have done of him, like you can see where people have done art of him and he just looks better in a different like pose. Like he honestly looks really good. By the way, if you guys see the artist, go hit him with a follow. This is an amazing art. But anyways, yeah, you can tell that like if people start drawing the new design, they'll make him look really good. Like it's really just a point of view. He definitely looks like the steal your girl type kind of guy. But we'll have to see what he turns out like. Anyways, guys, I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on Ayato. If you think, if you like his design, if there was any element of him that you would like changed, what would it be? And do you think people are just overreacting both ways? Because I really think, okay, people were upset, but I also think people were overreacting on how upset people were. I do think people should express if they are disappointed with the design. I think that's healthy to basically express when you're disappointed with a character or not. It's healthy, and I think it's good for the game because then the developers have something to base off of. Like if you were to tell somebody that they did a good job every single time, even when maybe they didn't, they wouldn't be able to improve. So with that mindset, and I'm not saying they have to improve here, but I'm just saying that's where feedback is good. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to see more content, and we'll catch you guys next time. 2D Man, over and out.